The New York Rangers have made multiple moves following the Capo Caco trade, and one of them is calling up a fan favorite from the AHL. We're also going to break down how trading for Will Borgen could have major implications on the rest of the season. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And shout out to all the new subscribers and new viewers of the channel over the last couple of weeks. Your support has been unbelievable. But let's dive right into the news today. And of course, the New York Rangers have made a couple moves following the Capo Caco trade. And if one of them is, I can agree with, and at the same time, I have a hard time with. So Matt Rempe has been recalled from the Hartford Wolfpack. Pause for applause. I'm sure half of the fan base at this point think this is the best move possible and that they do need Matt Rempe. And I'm going to get into it. I do agree with that to a degree, but Victor Mancini has also been assigned to the Hartford Wolfpack. Now, very interesting. They obviously traded for Will Borgen, who I believe was acquired to become a Jacob Trouba replacement in a way, although their skill sets are not at all the same. And I'm going to talk more about Will Borgen in another video I'm going to do later today. But this more so is about the moves and how these moves affect the team going forward. But Victor Mancini, I think, has been good to a degree this season. He has been good in his role. Obviously, a lot of guys are being shipped out and coming in, so everything's been shaken up a little bit. But he has been sent back down to the Hartford Wolfpack, probably just to get him in more games, because heading forward, if Keandre Miller comes back too, I'm not sure how many games he's going to get into. We'll get into the lineup and stuff like that in just a minute too. But very interesting move there. And Matt Rempe has been called up to the NHL. So I think that is a good move. I think Matt Rempe is going to come in. Yes. Does he take untimely penalties? Yes. Right. Does he make some stupid plays sometimes? Absolutely. But I think he's going to try and inject some energy into the lineup. I don't think it's going to turn the season around by any stretch of the imagination. This is not a move that's going to save the New York Rangers season, but I am happy to see Matt Rempe back again, and I want to see what he's going to be able to do against the Dallas Stars in their game tomorrow night. And there's a huge game on Sunday afternoon against the Carolina Hurricanes. The schedule certainly does not get easier for the New York Rangers moving forward. And this is an article from Jim Cerny, and I think everyone is sharing the same sentiment here in the first sentence. He's back, I think everyone's kind of happy. I shouldn't speak for everyone, but I have to say, I'm kind of happy to see Matt Rempe back in the AHL, or the NHL, I should say, sorry. I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and I think he's trying to put his game together in the AHL. Hasn't been going exactly to plan if you've been looking at his AHL stats. Hasn't exactly been going to plan, and we can take a look at his NHL stats this year too. Again, not much going on. He's only played 4 games so far this season, and he's averaging less than 8 minutes, which for a fourth liner that's even low for a fourth liner. So not great in the NHL so far this season. He's trying to put his game together at the AHL level, but obviously they're calling him up to inject some energy. It's not like they're calling him up to score a bunch of goals or they expect him to be great defensively or anything like that. He's supposed to come up. He's going to inject some energy. He's going to be checking guys. That's what he's going to come up and do and add some physicality to the lineup. And again, maybe some energy, because we know that the team we'll get to in a second is dead right now. There is no life in this team. They got to do something. So again, not averaging a lot of ice time, but he's going to come in and try and inject some energy, and we'll see how that works out as well. In terms of moves, Connor Mackey has also been sent down to the Hartford Wolfpack, and that is because obviously, as we get into here, these are the defense pairings now. They, I guess, maybe trust Chad Ruhwedel a little bit more, an experienced defenseman. He's in there. This is kind of what it was looking like for last game. Heading into next game, obviously, Will Borgen will be there. I imagine Ruhwedel is going to come out. I would think, I could be wrong, but I would think Ruhwedel is going to come out. And obviously, Urho Vakanainen, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've been trying to get that right. Will be back, or is back in the lineup, I should say, because he was dealing with some injury things as well after being traded, or while being traded, I guess. But he's back, and he's going to be in the lineup, I think, for the, he'll probably be in and out of the lineup at some points. But Connor Mackey sent back down to the Hartford Wolfpack. I thought this was very interesting, too, to get into a little bit how the Will Borgen trade is going to affect the New York Rangers moving forward and their defense pairings. We'll get into the, obviously, the forward group as well. But the Rangers acquired right shot defenseman Will Borgen in a trade with the Kraken. Obviously, with that being done, Victor Mancini is sent back down to the AHL, because if you look at this is a bit of a logjam. Like, and you don't want Victor Mancini sitting in the press box. Like, you want this kid to be playing. He's been really good. You don't want to stunt his development at all. You don't want him to be around this negativity either. So, I want him to be in the NHL lineup. I do. But if he's not going to be, and he's going to be in the press box, get him away from the negativity. Send him back down to Hartford. Get him in games. I think that's the way to go there. And again, although Mancini has a very bright future, and you can see that through the eye test, he's not been advanced stats-wise, and analytics. He hasn't been great. His Corsi's not great. His expected goals for is not great. His start to the season was very strong, but it's kind of tapered off a little bit. So if he's not going to be playing and he's going to be in and out of the lineup, get him back down to the AHL, get him back feeling good about his game. And I think that's kind of how Will Borgen affects this. I think he's going to be mostly a Jacob Trouba replacement, even though they have different play styles. I do believe that. Like, I think Borgen has way less offensive upside than Jacob Trouba had, but I think that's another reason why they went out and made this trade. So then Victor Mancini can go back down and marinate per se in the AHL. And if you look at the forward group here without Capo Caco now as well, very interesting. Jimmy Vesey slides up. I would assume Matt Rempe is going to factor into that fourth line on the right side there. Again, Riley Smith and Mika Zibanejad have earned their demotions to the third line. Has not been pretty this season. And Brett Berard has earned his promotion to the second line. I think Brett Berard has earned his spot to stay in the NHL at this point. He was kind of talked about at the beginning of the season. This is a guy who we could see at some point in the NHL this year, but you know what? It's probably better for his development to be in the AHL all year, but he's come up. He's looked really good. He's hungry on pucks. He's forechecking. He's creating plays. He deserves to be here still. He's one of the only guys playing with any type of life in their legs. So, him, Will Cooley, for example, Philip Hedl, I think that they've all been pretty good this season. So easily their best players. So Brett Berard has earned his spot to stay there in the NHL this year. And one other thing I wanted to bring up before we wrap things up here is the locker room dynamic right now. And it's not great. It's really not great. And, there's been a lot made out of how the players are slowly quitting on Chris Drury here. Not even slowly quitting at this point. It's a pretty, it's quiet quitting at this point. But it's escalated to the point, and this is an article from Vince Mercogliano. I thought this was very interesting. And it's escalated to the point of paranoia and secrecy, and that has created a feeling of walking on eggshells within the entire organization, which is conceding with the team's worst results in years and a sagging morale. And you can see that. You can see that the eye test, the stats are speaking for themselves. It's been horrible. There was this wall put up, according to one source. No one could talk to anyone. So things are not great behind the scenes right now. I'm not sure how they get themselves out of that, because the moves have been made, right? The things that the players are upset about, the Barclay Goodrow move, the Jacob Trouba trade, these things have been done, right? So I really don't think Chris Drury's going anywhere at this point. It's a tough situation. So for a while, the locker room was a safe space. Players had varying relationships with those who were let go. And obviously, this goes on to say, there's a lot of players that were very close-knit. It's like a family in there over the last couple of years, right? Obviously, you go so far in the playoffs with a lot of these guys over the last couple of years. So a series of events have steadily chipped away at that armor, and with the losses piling up recently, it's become harder to block out the static. The barrier has crumbled. The previously positive vibes have turned negative, and now the on-ice product has taken a hit. So something's got to give here. Somebody's going to have to turn it around. Maybe it is just a lost season at the end of the day. And I say a lost season in terms of they could still very well make the playoffs here, but it's not looking really good. A very promising start, an unsustainable start, honestly, probably masked a lot of this, these problems, and made Rangers fans and me even believe that this was a really good team still. But a lot of this is psychological, and if they don't get over that, hump, in the next little while, this is a recipe for disaster. So it's going to be interesting to see what other moves come, because it's also been reported that, if they keep playing like this and guys seem like they've just quit, there's going to be more trades coming. So I think that that's very interesting. Chris Drury is going to try and retool the entire team on the fly if they continue to lose and the morale is in the toilet. So very interesting to keep watching. I'm not sure what's next in the plans for Chris Drury here. But let me know in the comments what you think of all that, the moves. I'm happy to see Matt Rempe back. Excited to see what he's going to do. It's probably going to be very little ice time, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen there. But let me know in the comments what you think, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.